to eNCA's Michael Appel, who's also in Mahikeng. Michael, developments in the last few minutes where you are.
Yeah, that's right. To Lesizwe, there is on the main road that leads to Mega City Mall. For the last 3 hours or so, there's been a large crowd just where those tires are at the moment. They've got shields up and eNCA going in at the moment. And the police have been trying their best to push them back all day, but they just keep coming. They've deployed absolutely everything they have, but they have just kept coming the whole day. It seems the Mega City Mall is their target at the moment. To Lesizwe.
Michael, I mean, darkness has, engulfed that city in the early hours of the evening. You've been with this story the whole day, and I understand that in the last few minutes you heard some bangs. Did it sound like gunshots?
No, those were stun grenades going off at the moment. We haven't heard anything that sounds like a gunshot at the moment. A lot of tweets doing the rounds, people holding shell casings in their hands, but those that know what the police fire know that those are not 9mm casings. But as far as what we've been able to hear, we haven't heard any distinctive gunshots, just a lot of rubber bullets, a lot of stun grenades.
So the area where you are, just give us a sense of the crowd that's there, because I imagine it's hard to see now because it's dark. All we see are just flares there that indicate that, there's perhaps some tires being burned. While keeping a safe distance, give us a sense of who are the people that are there, what size of people of the crowd is there?
There's a crowd of at least, I'd have to guesstimate, probably at least 300 to 400 people. But there's only a couple that always charge the police and always get pushed back. So as soon as the police leave the area, then they flood back onto the streets, and it's the cat and mouse game that continues, that has been continuing in various areas of Mahikeng throughout the day. Where we were this morning early when the police were cleaning the streets, an hour later those streets are blocked again. They bring in the graders and they get all the concrete and the rubble and the burning tires and the smoldering logs, massive logs. I can tell you, I have no idea how a human being carries one of those logs. They grade them, they get them off the road, and an hour later they are back on. So I know it's almost impossible to see what's going on here, but just where those tires are, where that eNCA is now, you'll see the reflectors. Just behind that is where the crowds are. And the tricky situation is you have people to our right and to our left, and they're throwing rocks from each direction, and in the smoke you can't see where the rocks are coming from, making it very difficult. And I have to say, a little bit earlier today, the police, when they're driving in their eNCAs, when we were camped out here in the middleman between these two roads, were pretty much shooting indiscriminately at a lot of people. We had to duck behind our vehicle a few times, not sure where that shot was going to land.
We want to release you, Michael, so that you move to a position of safety. But let me ask you as a final question then, in terms of the mood of the protesters, do they feel buoyed by the developments of today, in that perhaps they've been able to gain the attention of the President of the Republic, who's had to come back from a working visit overseas to come and actually attend to some of their issues? Are they feeling buoyed? Are they feeling that they could bring pressure to bear on Supra Mahumapelo?
In one sense, yes. In another sense, the announcement by Pulimabe that there may not be a resolution, I don't know the exact words he used, there won't be or there may not be a resolution this evening, and that it's up to the NEC to decide the Premier's fate. I think that message is slowly filtering down into the protesters, and that isn't sitting well at all. A lot of them wanted the pressure that they've brought to bear on the province to result in something tangible and quickly. And I think the protests that we've seen over the last 3 days, as darkness falls, the looting is going to continue. There may well be a lot more cars burnt out and trucks burnt out. But I think overall the message is people are still not happy. The fact that the President came to Mahikeng, there was no address to the public, which was one of the groups I spoke to said they wanted the President to address them in the Mahikeng Stadium. That didn't happen. Nobody from the ANC has come down to the ground to speak to the people. We had the Police Minister Becky Quell speaking to some of the communities in areas where I wasn't, I must admit, so I'm not entirely sure what he had to say to them. But I think people are feeling that their demands are not yet being heard.
All right, thank you so much. For now, let's let you go, Michael, so that you move to a position of relative safety. Stay safe out there. Michael Appel out in Mahikeng, working that story flat out.